everyone, welcome back to my channel. My life is extremely chaotic right now, which I think is really epitomized by the fact that I'm sitting on a bathroom floor in a hotel room. Don't worry, I'm sitting on a towel for all you germaphobes, monkeypox, whatever. Anyway, if you follow me on Instagram, which you should because news hits there faster 100% of the time, it always gets more in depth on here. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see that I transferred law schools from the University of Pennsylvania to Stanford Law School. So I've been getting a lot of questions about that, expectedly so. So in this video, I'm going to talk about, wow, do you see how I just like switched to my professional voice? In this video, I'm going to talk about one, why I transferred, and two, how I transferred. I figure I have like two primary audiences. Some people just want the tea, some people want like the logistics. And so I'm going to appease you both because I respect both of those positions. First, I'm going to talk about why. So here's the thing. I think a lot of people, when they saw that I decided to transfer, they assumed it was because I wanted like a higher ranked school, a more prestigious school, you know, that sort of thing. But that had nothing to do with my decision to transfer, literally nothing. Penn is ranked 6, Stanford's ranked 2. That is just not enough of a difference for me to have made the decision to pick up my entire life and move across the country like I am presently doing in this moment. I loved Penn academically, I loved Penn institutionally. I wouldn't have left if I didn't have other reasons. So then of course the question becomes, well, what were your other reasons? So without making this a whole therapy session, basically, I had a really like traumatic experience at Penn that just tainted literally the whole environment for me. Like I genuinely feel like I can't comfortably be on campus without like being anxious or like just feeling bad, like just being in a bad mood, like just isn't good for my mental health. And I kind of just accepted that I was just going to be a really low-key player and like be one of those people who just goes to class and goes home and isn't like super in the mix because of the experience that I had last year. And I think any traumatic experience is enough to like make any person like want to leave the environment that caused that experience. But it was even more escalated for me because like the community that I thought that I could rely on to help like get me through that experience, I couldn't rely on them. They disappeared in my time of need, and that really hurt my feelings. Now I'm getting sad. I don't want to be sad. Okay, sorry. Wow. I'm gonna write a book about this one day in which I spill all the details. For now, all you need to know is that I had a really bad experience and people were not supportive of me through that experience. Okay, that being said, like my decision to transfer was much more like a decision to transfer from Penn than to transfer to Stanford or any particular school. When I decided to transfer, I applied to 3 schools, Harvard, Yale, and Stanford, because I was like, those are pretty much the only schools I'm gonna go to if I get in. If I got into a lower ranked school, I don't think I would have been able to like rationalize it to myself. Like even rationalizing going to Stanford was like hard for me just because of like, it's just a lot. It's a lot to transfer. Like I never thought I was a transfer girly. So I had to have a reason other than like my emotional reasons, even though that should be enough and it is enough by itself. Like I knew that I would have a much better time rationalizing it to myself if I was going to a better school. So I only applied to those 3 schools. Didn't apply to Chicago, didn't apply to Columbia because I was like, I don't want to live in a bigger city. I don't. I'm in my small town girl phase where I'm just like, I want to live like miles away from my nearest neighbor. That's my ideal lifestyle at this point. And New York and Chicago, they aren't doing it for me. I do want to emphasize that like my experience at Penn was very unique. It was also objectively bad, but it was very unique. And I don't think if you, viewer, go to Penn, I don't think you will have my experience. I really don't. So if Penn is your dream school, it can still be your dream school. You know, don't let my unique experience like scare you away, because I really do think Penn is a great law school and Philly can be a great city. But I was just like, I literally cannot live here anymore without spiraling, which I was like totally fine with spiraling. I was like, you know, I do this all the time. But one day I was talking to my friend, complaining, because I like to complain, and she was like, oh, you should transfer. And I was like, you're right, I should transfer. And so then I Googled it. I was like, when are transfer applications due? It said June 15th. This was June 10th, so I had 5 days to figure out my entire life, and I did, because that's just what I do. I'm a figure outer. So I wrote my personal statement, I emailed my letters of recommendation writers, and I was like, yeah, so this is really last minute, but here's my really compelling story. Can you please write this letter? And they were like, yeah, that is a really compelling story. I will gladly write this letter. So I just applied through LSAC. Harvard had its own like bougie different application, but the other two were through LSAC. And since I'm already talking about that, I'm just gonna get into the logistics side of things. So like the how I transferred. Like I said, I applied June 15th, the literal last day. I do think that it helps to apply early, not gonna lie, because I applied to Harvard, Yale, Stanford. I only got into Stanford. I did an interview at Harvard, but by the time that I interviewed, the class was already almost full. So like there weren't many spots. I was probably just interviewing in case someone else didn't accept their acceptance. And I figure all this out because of Reddit. Law school Reddit is very knowledgeable, but it's a crazy world, so don't recommend actually. I did nothing at Yale. I just got straight out rejected, which it was so hurtful because of all the schools. Like I really romanticized going to Yale and I really romanticized going to Harvard, and I really did not think about Stanford that much. I was just like, I feel like if I get in anywhere, it'll probably be Harvard because they have the biggest school, they have the biggest transfer class, like the odds are just way more in my favor. But life comes at you fast. I've never even been to California and I'm about to move there. So why does it seem so sudden? Like, why does it come out of nowhere? Well, because it was sudden, it came out of nowhere for me too. Like, yes, I applied, right? I'll give you that. I did apply, so I had some knowledge that I might be moving, but I got rejected from the other two schools that I applied to like mid-July, so like 2 weeks ago. And I thought that when I got those rejections that schools were pretty much done like taking in their transfer classes. So I just assumed that I would not get into Stanford. I just thought they were ghosting me. So in the week and a half that I got rejected from those two schools, and when I heard from Stanford, I went to Philadelphia. I found a new apartment. I signed a lease. I like set up all my moving stuff. I was just preparing my life to stay in Philadelphia. And then last week, hasn't even been a week yet, last Wednesday, I'm sitting at work and I get a call, and the caller ID says Palo Alto, California. And I'm like, that's suspicious. I answered the phone and it was a dean at Stanford, and they're basically like, yeah, we're a little behind schedule, but we have a seat for you if you're still interested. And I was like, yes, I am still interested. Long story short, it's been a chaotic past 5 days because I had to decide pretty quickly if I was going to transfer to Stanford, because one, I had to figure out my lease because it starts in like less than a week now. So I had to figure that out, because if I was transferring, then I had to figure out how to get out of my lease. I already paid my tuition at Penn, so I have to figure out like how to unenroll, get my tuition back. And then I have OCI this week at Penn, and so I'm like, if I don't go to Penn, how are my OCI interviews gonna work? Like, I just had so much stuff to figure out within like 48 hours, and it was like my last 2 days at the law firm, so we were doing like all this extra stuff like dinners and lunches, and I was just busy all the time, so I barely had time to like process the fact that I got into Stanford and then think about if I was gonna go. And then to make matters even worse, on Friday, I found out that I made law review at Penn, which was super exciting. But I was like, what do I do? Literally, what do I do? Needless to say, or maybe I need to say, I was super stressed, extremely stressed. Friday night, I was like on a plane flying to Nashville because my birthday was Saturday. I can't make this stuff up. Anyway, my birthday was Saturday, and I was like, okay, I need to decide like right now what I'm doing, because I can't be thinking about this all weekend and then have to have a decision on Monday, and like I just need to know right now. So on my plane, I decided that I'm going to Stanford because I was just like, that feels like the right thing to do. One, because people just don't get into Stanford every day. Like the fact alone that I got in, I'm like, that feels like reason enough to go. Also, like my financial aid was like pretty comparable, to be honest. Stanford is a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth, one, Stanford, and two, like my mental health. I don't know, I was feeling a lot of pressure from different directions, because some people were like, oh, well, the fact that you made law review makes Penn like really attractive. And I was like, yeah, law review at Penn, but Stanford, you know? And I can still like do the writing competition at Stanford. Doesn't mean I'll make law review, but I might. I'm just rambling. I'm sorry. I'm just so overwhelmed with things to think about. Long story short, my life is super dramatic. It's so dramatic. And like, I don't even try to do this stuff. It just happens to me. And I document it because that helps me for whatever reason. Like, it genuinely does help me to like be able to talk about all of these things and like have you strangers listen to me. So thanks. I don't even know what else to say. Like, I'm sure there's so much that I'm missing. So I don't know. Maybe you can ask questions and I'll do like a Q&A video. That can be kind of fun. Also, I did do a writing competition vlog, but since I found out I made law review Friday, I haven't edited it. I haven't made the vlog yet. So if that's something you still want to see, then I can edit it and I'll post it, whatever. But I figured this was the more pressing video that people are interested in, so I went ahead and did this. I feel like I'm ending really abruptly, but I have no idea what else to say. So, comment, please, and subscribe, and like, whatever. I'm gonna go figure out some stuff, because I still don't know where I'm doing OCI, by the way. Still don't know. Don't know where I'm leaving, don't know when I'm moving, don't know if I'm flying, if I'm driving, don't know how I'm getting my car from Philadelphia to Tennessee, don't know if I'm taking my car from Tennessee to California. There's so much that I don't know. So I'm sure you all have questions. I also have questions, okay? We all have the same questions, but that's where I am right now. The next video will probably be more like vlog style, so that you'll see me figuring out the answer to all these questions in real time, but I just wanted to give you guys an update. Follow me on Instagram if you want those real-time updates. See you next time.